Hello to everyone. Thanks for your time again, for being here, for having the time to see my channel and all the things that I produce for you. First of all, I like to say that my intention and my commitment is with you and with me to work every day better than ever before. Now, my channel. Normally, people ask me how it works, how it operates, how they can learn better out of being in here. So I like to explain a couple of things. For example, in my introductory video that appears in 7 languages, I changed the name that was originally JAM for the name EDU. As it refers to education, and somebody suggested to me that it would sound much better for my audience. So the name here is EDU, the up-to-date name, I would say. So I'll continue going here down so that you see all possible sections, and I pretend that in each section I will give you a linguistic example how to work with the channel. So here, for the people that like to learn English, as most of my audience are Spanish speakers and they are interested in learning more, so I research for them all what has to do with vocabulary in here, and all the things that I have seen about other channels and pages that are really nice and good. For example, as you have seen here on the, let's say, right side from me, you see that I always recommend TED because I have seen their great speeches, great people that actually are very remarkable in their research fields. You can listen here to businessmen, to doctors, to scientists, sociologists, psychologists, you name it. They have them all, and you can listen to them, of course, as you already know, in the language you wish to practice. I mean, you can activate their, no, not listen, I mean the subtitles. Because the listening, as far as I'm concerned, you can find that in Portuguese, Spanish, I would say English, German, French, from the ones I know. From TED, I mean, I'm talking about this here, my channel, the channels that I recommend. So what I like to say here is in vocabulary, if I see something that is recommendable for the things I do, because I tell people, listen, when you start with the language, vocabulary and expressions is the first. Better than grammar, better than anything else. It's just that you accumulate enough words, enough vocabulary to see that you really get there before starting with any grammar or anything that complicates the issue in your mind. So here, vocabulary and pronunciation too, I included it here. I mean, part of it, because the part that actually speaks about phonetic symbols and how to improve your pronunciation in every single aspect in English is here. Listening and the pronunciation, they go hand in hand. So I made a list here. The things that I recommend and have seen myself with my students and from other people that are actually good too. Here is the section of grammar and how to combine grammar after, in my opinion, you overcome level A2 according to the Common European Framework. So when you are above level A2 in English, then you can start with grammar, with organizing your language, and always think about this. The exercises in grammar from this wonderful book that you might see there, Essential Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy, published by Cambridge University, is a really remarkable and good book. In my opinion, one of the best in the world, I dare to say. So here you would see plenty of reading, plenty of writing, what I recommend for your grammar issues. And then when you click in here, you will see that actually the topics that I suggest, let's say, for example, tenses in English, I connect them with the book that I am recommending now, and then with the other things that people need to know in, let's say, when you know Spanish and you like to know in English, and you connect that with concrete examples. Let's say, for example, the present continuous in English or present progressive with a song like this one in here, Lemon Tree by Fool's Garden. Same as with the next of topics here, you see simple present, and then I'll see that there are songs or issues or text. And for example, for the past tense, you will see here story. The stories are great for the language. Remember that actually the linguistic evolution occurred out of the stories left by the people that wrote them as a linguistic tool and used properly, in my opinion, the best. So here, as you can see, plenty of issues and topics for the grammar part, which is for most people very hard. As soon as you start reading the stories, writing about them, connecting your ideas, you will understand grammar so much better. So that is the structure that I suggested. Let me move myself a little bit from here because I like to continue telling you about the other topics I include in my channel in English. Let me stop here and then here, English for professions. When I was studying English and how it became to be the world #1 language, most of it occurred because of the commercial part of the language. Most people wanted to learn commercial English, business English, because of the transactions with English-speaking people. So English started there. And then it went over that to see that other people, let's say from sectors like engineering or medicine, or let's say aviation, in the many topics where English is actually the language you communicate to show, let's say, the advances and let's say the most important relevant articles and books. So I put here English for professions precisely because of this. And then when I continue here, you will see that actually I allow myself to recommend other teachers, what I have seen from teachers worldwide. And when I see myself a recommendation, I put it in here. There are plenty of teachers and lecturers that give us really good feedback. And that for teachers is, if you like to evolve as a teacher, it's always better to keep your listening open, so to speak. I mean, to continue improving all the time. Here I have the sensation that when you speak the language, there is nothing else for you to learn. And remember, we are always learning. And there is always, two sides of this coin. Either you're learning, or you are not actually learning because it doesn't exist in English, but you are not evolving, I would say. If you're not learning, you're not evolving. As simple as that. You can ask any neurologist and he will confirm that. So I'll continue down here to the other topics about what are the English levels in here, from A1 to C2. And again, the description with the reference of the Common European Framework. You can read that too online, plenty of information about it. So I put what I consider most relevant here. And then a couple of books recommended by internet and myself. I have read many of those books recommended in here. And then I'll see the big difference when you read somebody that had a particular experience and condensed in a book, and they recommend that here worldwide, and then you know that people that wrote those books were really remarkable in their fields. So I always say, a book is condensed experience, condensed power of many, many, many years of experience that you can summarize, so to speak, in a couple of weeks, which is what it takes to read a book. And that is why the power, in my opinion, is here, when you just read experiences from others. So I include them here. How to start English with zero for a Spanish speaker is right here. I always say the same. Vocabulary, commitment, routine, always study at a specific time, and always forget your bad pedagogical experiences. I'm not going to blame anybody in here, but if you like to start from zero, that means reset your mind concerning the bad experiences so that your mind is so much more eager and enthusiastic about learning. The same as when you start in this section, any other language. I'm going to give you some examples in here along this illustration of my channel, and then you will see that any language is practically the same. You have an input, process, and output. So you accumulate enough information out of the things that you listen, songs, movies, videos, newspaper, you name it. And then the brain does the rest for you, as long as you keep a routine, as long as you keep yourself motivated. It's important here to remember that your brain has that capacity. Unblock your mind, it's my intention. And that's the next part in here. When I say better attitude in Spanish, that would be, the pronunciation would be mejor actitud, better attitude. Sometimes you're struggling with the pronunciation of any language, either Spanish or French or Italian or Chinese or Russian. The question is just, that happens always at the beginning of any language. But then when you continue telling your brain, listen, you can improve this part, you can imitate better, you separate the specific time. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be studying longer hours, no. I would say, starting 20 minutes daily to create the habit, and then you go from there. You can extend that too. So I wrote here in Spanish, cómo hacer algo por usted todos los días. how to do something for yourself every day, because that is how the brain works. When you work every day, your brain connects synapses. And with the synapses and the behavior, you create a powerful habit, not just for learning a language, for learning anything, I might say here. The same as when I recommend reading again. There are plenty of people that will tell you something similar. And then when you like to activate your imagination in language, it's always better when you have to, let's say, advance more, and you have already seen enough video clips and movies about the language you're learning. A book is always a good choice. And as long as you, after reading that book, you write. It's important to connect the reading with the writing. So here, recommendations of books that I think might be interesting for you. Here in Spanish, I recommend things about health. And here is, with all due respect, I put the references in there. When, say, for example, I recommended the book Brain Drain by Dr. David Perlmutter, neurologist, and he says that our second brain is our stomach in one of his books. And we are practically, our, let's say, neurological health depends so much on what we eat and we consume. I think he's very right. I can only confirm that with my brain. When I said I just, eliminated practically alcohol from my life, and let's say sugar and other, I would say, toxic stuff, so to speak, toxic food, and my brain, I didn't have any problems, I have to confess. It's actually to be proactive with health. Don't wait until the problem arrives until you react. No, it's always good to react beforehand. And that is what I say writing here in Spanish. In Spanish, the pronunciation would be como mejorar tu salud todos los días. Whenever I always give the reference, the bibliography. Not just, don't think that I'm inventing here or making this up. No. I just always tell you from which books I obtained the information so you can read yourself, create your own concept, and it's always good to verify. Verification is a quintessential aspect, especially today when we are all saturated with information. I continue over with another section about business, because plenty of people know that the best investment, in my opinion, is your mind. Out of putting the right information, out of saying, for example, and developing a healthy self-esteem, I dare to say that my own brain, when I injected more and more self-esteem, the issue about telling my brain, listen, it's possible, we just need time. My brain adapted to the many challenges and situations that I encountered. And I like to say that in here, especially now when you see that with COVID-19, many businesses are changing. And when we were all used to do something for our living, now we have to adapt completely. And please do. At the beginning, not easy, confusing. Yes, I know, it's hard. But still good when you start and you just, let's say, you make the first step, and then the second, and then the third, and fourth. But here, the more you work, the better you get. And your brain, I like to say that, has the capacity to overcome this if you give enough data, if you have a positive, I would say, input, in a way that you say, listen, maybe in the past you were not good. Maybe you had many failures. I had many failures myself, and plenty of people will tell you the same. But in the moment you continue, you start, you will see that all hurdles and obstacles in life, your brain has the capacity to overcome them, especially in the issue of business or earning a living. If you imagine something that didn't work out, now your brain knows that it doesn't work out, and you will find the other way. Many ways, and especially today when we have plenty of information, one click away. With YouTube videos, for example, you can learn many things as long as you keep yourself active and doing this and not getting desperate and developing more self-esteem and respect for yourself and your own environment and your own people. I like to say that. Now I continue here in German. I like to say here something a little bit in German. Das ist jetzt Deutsch für die Leute, die Deutsch lernen möchten. Es ist Deutsch vom Anfang an. Ich meine Niveau A1 und A2 und dann B1, B2, C1 und C2. Erstmal habe ich ein paar Dinge hier gemacht, auf Deutsch natürlich. Sollte natürlich ein bisschen langsam sein. Vokabel ist das erste auf Deutsch, würde ich mal sagen. Und von dort aus dann sich ein paar Videos anschauen. Hier. Ich möchte euch zeigen, wie das eigentlich aussieht. Der Anfang. Das ist eine Art Einleitung hier. Und dann heißt es, ich gebe euch ein paar Beispiele, wie ich Vokabeln und Redewendungen gelernt habe. Und von dort aus geht es weiter. Und da gibt es hier, habe ich mir ein paar Videos ausgesucht, die wirklich ganz gut sind. Hier könnt ihr mal hier gucken, das sind 111 Videos, die ich mal ausgesucht habe, wo es für Reiser etwas gibt oder im Flughafen meine ich, oder wenn die Leute auf der Straße sind in Deutschland und einfach mal die vielen Situationen, die man normalerweise in einer Sprache sieht, hier ist alles auf Deutsch für die Leute, die Deutsch lernen möchten. Und Niveau A1, ja, die Größe, die Farbe, die Nummer, ja, aber alles so realistisch wie möglich konnektieren. Nicht nur für Deutsch, für die anderen Sprachen auch. Aber hier, wie gesagt, alles auf Deutsch, erstmal ganz langsam, A1, A2 und dann geht es weiter. Und das Gehirn, solange ich diese Gewohnheit entwickle, kann mein Gehirn das alles packen und schaffen, speziell heute, wo es so viel Material gibt. Es ist nur wichtig, dass ich dann, sobald ich mir ein Video angeschaut habe, dass ich dann sage, ich kann das analysieren, dann kann ich mich hinsetzen und sagen, ich schreibe auf. Und jetzt ein bisschen auf Englisch. What I just said is precisely what I have been saying along this video. You start with something, let's say German, you sit down, you get your first words, out of those first words, your brain creates something like in a special file in your brain, and then it starts accumulating all information, all input that you put in there. And be positive, be proactive, never, ever tell your brain that you are not able to. It's hard, it's difficult, it requires plenty of repetitions. Yes, it's true. Just go for it. Just work all the time. It's just a question of working. Remember, input, process, and output. You write, you record your voice, you write it again, and then you go with easy things if you like. And then survival expressions. All of it, I put it here in German. Auf Deutsch. Here, I like to say about for Spanish speakers the same. If you're learning Spanish, as an English speaker or German speaker, I'll be like this. What I always recommend. So it's like, esta es la lista, vocabulario, sentarse, trabajar un poco, paciencia, paciencia y continuar. Estos videos son útiles, sencillos, fáciles de introducción para los que aprenden español. O sea, que hablan inglés o alemán, o francés, y la música acá es muy buena. La música es buen elemento. Music is just great for you if you're learning Spanish to develop better listening, because you can sing along, and here I selected a couple of famous songs, but you can select your own, the ones that you really like. Und das Gleiche auf Deutsch. Musik ist immer gut, weil die Musik motivierend ist. Ganz motivierend. So. This list, this playlist, for English or German or other speakers. I started with English speakers and German speakers. So remember, music, videos, movies, and all things that motivate you. Input, process, output. Then I go back, continue with the next list. Français. Qu'est-ce que je dois dire? On peut parler plus si on veut, parce que le secret d'apprendre une langue étrangère, comme la langue française, est de pratiquer, sélectionner quelque chose comme c'est, une chose simple, accumuler beaucoup de vocabulaire. Et depuis de ça, toutes les choses que je peux regarder qui sont très motivantes pour moi. Par exemple, si je dis alors, c'est une chose très très bonne. C'est une série, c'est quelques vidéos adaptées pour les personnes qui veulent apprendre la langue française. Ici, beaucoup de vidéos, la musique aussi, très bien, très important, la musique est, je crois que pour moi, pour apprendre une langue étrangère, la musique est magnifique, je dois dire. Et ici, je dois dire, matériel, TV5 Monde, formidable, fabuleuse, génial, je dois dire. Toutes les choses que je veux, une langue, là, la langue française, je dois dire. TV5 Monde aussi, et ici, je sélectionnais pour mes étudiants, ça que je considère très important. Par exemple, Le léger avantage de Jeff Olson, un livre magnifique, je dois dire. Et beaucoup d'autres exemples, des choses que je considère intéressantes, importantes, et la musique aussi. Important est que si je peux sélectionner quelque chose, une chose qui est motivante pour moi, oubliez ça. Important. Alors, je veux continuer avec les autres choses. Agora, Se você está aprendendo português, você quer falar muito mais, eu fiz uma lista para você, uma lista de coisas que eu considero importantes. Você vai ver. Música, adoro. Essa mulher aqui é uma cantante muito boa, vocalização, tudo ela muito interessante. Português do Brasil, interessantíssimo, eu digo. Aqui eu tenho um artigo de saúde, motivação também. Outras técnicas que você vai ver, como aprender qualquer coisa, segundo o físico Richard Feynman. Muito interessante o que ele diz. Aqui também, como falar de um jeito que as pessoas querem ouvir. Tudo que você quiser está aqui nesta lista. E Michel Tello, música é importantíssima. Aprendizagem, linguagem. Português também. So, e questo è italiano. Per tutti i miei studenti che voglio imparare la lingua italiana. Mesma cosa, molto interessante. Tutte cose di italiano. Questo. 29. Film, musica. Adoro questa cosa. And here, in general, again, for people that like to learn Nederlands te leren, or if you say in Russian, like something like Spasibo хорошо, or if you like to say the beginning, Добрый день, доброе утро. Меня зовут Julian. Как вас зовут? And then you start with those expressions, not just in Russian, in Chinese too. Sarah, you would say. Or you would say, Chao, Julian. And the other expressions that I included in here for the survival of Chinese, the same as in Hindi. Merhaba, or, in Arabic, and then in Hindi. When you see that Hindi actually today is a language that dominates a really, I would say, Southern Asia part. I included the most relevant examples in here, same as in Swahili, the most spoken language in Africa. I dare you to check this out because it's important here at the end, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, to always give your brain something new, something interesting, something that you enjoy. That is why movies and music and anything that you like, because it's really motivating. When you see that your brain just needs to be always active to create new synapses, new ways. And that is my intention with the channel, with languages, with the things that I have seen myself, to put every single week one new video, like this one here. And then in my reproduction list, the one that we just saw, the channels I am interested in, and how to contact me. You can write to my email here, as you already know. And I also post those videos here, videos that I really like, in Facebook, in Twitter, in Instagram, anywhere else. Oh, I need now battery. But the intention, like I told you, is keep yourself active. Be always there. So thanks again for your time. Chiekse, spasiba harasho, domo arigato, bahut darjaban. Dankeschön, thank you, merci beaucoup, grazie mille.